Good afternoon. Welcome to the BBC News at 1. Theresa May is preparing to deliver her long-awaited speech in Florence about the government's plans for Brexit. The Prime Minister will say the UK and the European Union have a responsibility to make Brexit work. And she's expected to offer continued payments to the EU during a 2-year transition period after Britain leaves. Let's cross now to Christian Fraser, who is in Florence. Christian.
Hello and welcome to Florence, birthplace of the Renaissance. Are we about to see a renaissance in these Brexit talks? After 6 months of very limited progress, this is a critical moment. Some say perhaps the most important speech on Brexit that the Prime Minister has delivered thus far. Some of it was still being written last night, minor adjustments to take in the considerations of key cabinet ministers, and the charm offensive has already started. I'm told that yesterday the Prime Minister called Jean-Claude Juncker, the European Commission President, to inform him about what will be in it, as well as the Irish Taoiseach. Very important that this lands well with key British allies. But will there be enough in this speech to move the European negotiators to that crucial next phase, the future trading relationship? Our political correspondent Ben Wright has been taking a look.
And the taxi app Uber will not have its licence renewed by Transport for London. It says the firm isn't fit and proper to operate, and that Uber's approach and conduct has implications for public safety and security. About 3.5 million passengers and 40,000 drivers use the service in the capital. Uber says it will appeal against the decision. Matthew Thompson reports.
It's 5 years since Uber first launched its app in London, and in that time it's made its fair share of both enemies at BBC News.
Well, our technology correspondent Rory Ketson-Jones is with me, and this is so interesting, Rory, isn't it? Because for the user, for the passenger, it's quite straightforward technology. That's what's made it so successful. But TfL clearly saying there are safety issues here potentially.
Yes, Uber has gone round the world disrupting the way transport works in cities and often running foul of regulators and quite often ignoring them and carrying on. This time it can't ignore this decision. What it will say is that millions of Londoners, particularly young Londoners, have had the way they move around the city transformed by this, and they will be very worried about the fact that that may come to an end. And of course there's 40,000 drivers who will also be very worried. But what TfL has had to deal with is a growing number of reports that Uber is just very slipshod in the way it runs its business, both in the way it treats its drivers themselves and the way it regulates those drivers, making sure that they haven't got criminal records, making sure that they're behaving properly. And that attitude in the company, which has been shown to operate in the same way around the world, has finally caught up with it. Its reputation, which has got worse and worse and worse, is finally costing it very dear here in London.
Rory, thank you. Rory Ketson-Jones. President Trump has branded the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un a madman and insisted he would be tested like never before. His latest comments came in response to Kim Jong-un calling Donald Trump mentally deranged. North Korea is now threatening to test a nuclear bomb over the Pacific Ocean. President Trump has branded the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un a madman and insisted he would be tested like never before.